I always had a thing for Paula Negri. I didn't understand it. This is from when I was a little, young. And I was always fascinated by her. So again, later, Adrienne Ames' first real job in Hollywood is as a stand-in and double for Paula Negri. So, again, it's these ways in which, you have these attractions, this karmic resonance. And then later on, when you find the stories, they kind of all make sense. Theresa, when you think about your book and when you think about your own exploration of past lives, do you want to do more with past lives? I mean, how do you see it kind of from a professional standpoint? Because to me, past lives are kind of like my strongest thing. As a psychic, I'm sort of like well known for that. But do you want to do more with it as you move along?
Yeah, I am. I kind of, just when I think, the one, I have 3 that I know of, but just when I think I'm kind of over the one that I think about all the time, just when I think I've kind of gotten past it, it'll come back up again in some part of my life. And basically, I want to be over that because I just want to move on. But yeah, I don't think you ever really get over any of it. I think it's always there. It hasn't have to run your life or wreck your life. But I think if people were more open to their past lives, it would help them, tremendously in things. Just like when things that happened when you were a child affect how you are today. So it is with the past lives. And as far as doing readings, I don't do a lot with past lives right now. I guess it just depends on the person. Mm-hmm. I'm actually more of a medium right now. In the last few years, it's kind of how it's turned around, but it's always changing for me. I never know actually from reading to reading what's going to happen. If it's a past life is going to come up, or if it's going to be more in the mediumship. Like I said, I'm just learning and going along as best I can, and just open to new adventures and having fun mostly.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Have either of you done past life regressions?
Yeah, I have, and I always forget to mention this. It's when I first did it, the name Lucille came up, and I didn't know who Lucille Ricksen was yet, and so that really validated it for me when I first learned of Lucille Ricksen, because I always forget to tell people that.
So, Amy, how do you feel about regressions? Do you like doing them?
I'm like mixed with it. I think if you want to do it, it's fine, but I don't think it should be forced. But then, like, for me, the memories can just come up if I could just watch an old movie and something can come up. It's so easy for me to do it, but I don't think it should be forced.
Yeah, I've never felt the need to do it. I mean, I'd be open to it, but I've never really felt like, I've always just known. So
that's a much better way to be. I mean, that's what Edgar Cayce calls karmic resonance. You just sort of have it right there, at the tip of your fingertips. We've got about 10 minutes left. Before you head out, I want to thank the two of you. I know this, takes a lot to get onto a radio show, especially with someone you don't know and you don't know what I'm going to say. So first off, I want to thank both of you for joining us. But I hope you've had fun. I mean, I hope it hasn't been too awful.
No, thank you for letting me be on here. I enjoy talking about it, so thank you.
Yeah, I do too. I enjoy talking about it and sharing our story, and hope that maybe it helps somebody else open up a little bit and talk about their life experiences.
I mean, not only the concept of reincarnation, but when you look at what Lucille Ricksen went through as a young woman, I mean, all those themes there's a lot to that, even if you didn't have past lives to throw into that. When you look at Lucille, and this is for either of you, and think about all the things that she went through and being asked to portray an adult woman as a very young, as a child still. Do you see any parallels with either any of your friends or anybody around you? I mean, I've had teenage daughters, and it's complicated. I mean, just in general, being a 15-year-old girl in the United States now is complicated.
Personally,
does that ever
I don't think it's any different than it is today, really, in Hollywood. I mean, Lucille's story was really tragic, but I think everybody should read her story and to see, what it was really like. And then also keep in perspective, keep it in your mind that
it was a different time.
It was a different time back then, and some of the nude pictures of her when she was younger. Well, that was pretty common. I mean,
and it wasn't that strange for an older man to be with a younger girl. I mean, well, of course, the Chaplins again. They were always they married. I don't want to say it because I don't know the exact age, and I don't want any Chaplin fans to yell at me. But it was common back then to marry, for an older man to marry a 17 or 16-year-old. It was a different time, so yeah, she had troubles with older men, and they treated her not so kind, but it wasn't uncommon, or it wasn't as creepy if you were living back then. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense. When I was a young, a little older than you, the famous young child actress was Brooke Shields.
Mm-hmm.
And Brooke Shields did a film called Pretty Baby. Have you seen that movie?
No, but I'm a big Lolita fan. That's one of my favorite books, so I get that whole age thing and how controversial all that is. So.
Have you read Lolita and Nabokov? Have you read the book?
Yeah, Nabokov is one of my favorite authors, and I have both movies, so.
Do you like one better than the other? Do you like the Kubrick one, or do you like the one from the 90s?
Well, I love both of them, but I like Stanley Kubrick's just because I like Peter Sellers. So, I think I like the older one just because it is more funny and it's more lighthearted. You don't feel as perverted watching it as you do with the Adrienne Lynn one. So.
Yeah, because Frank Langella in that second one's kind of strange, I think, And,
yeah.
and then one thing, I know we're short on time, but there's all the rumors that Lucille's mother.
Yeah, her mom wasn't. People paint her as a horrible stage mom. She wasn't. She was just. Both of them loved movies, and they loved movie stars in Hollywood, and they were both in it together. And her mom, and as from what I can remember, because I have memories of a lot of things, Lucille's mom didn't know a lot of stuff was going on that was happening to her, so she was kind of in denial.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Was Lucille? Where was Lucille born?
When?
No, where? She wasn't born in California,
Chicago.
was she?
No, it was Chicago.
So, again, geographically kind of similar, Minnesota, Illinois.
Yeah, they were Scandinavian, too. We're Scandinavian.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's interesting. Do you think that you'll end up living in L.A.?
Yeah, I want to move out there after I graduate, but I need to get money first. But I know it's in my future. I'm going to be out there sometime.
And do people come to you and as a potential actress? Do people come to you with parts or anything like that?
No, but I get told we meet a lot of famous people because we go to conventions and stuff, and they all tell me that I'm gonna make it, but I've never been addressed as wanting as some wanting me to be in a movie or anything.
Teresa, what do you think?
Well, right now she's concentrating on, on school and doing, doing that. And I guess, whatever happens will happen. Her dad and I will always support her and will always be with her. So we'll see. She's not mentioning that she is also very psychic. And I think, we're probably the only mother-daughter psychics working, although she doesn't work a lot with me anymore. She has a lot of other talents, and she's a very gifted writer, and so there's lots of different areas that she is looking at.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. I have a really good friend. Her name's Jill Dane. Jill Dane's, you may find Jill Dane kind of fascinating, too. It's Dahne. Jill's fantastic. Anyway, her mother is Mickey Dane, and Mickey Dane was a very famous psychic in her day. She was Elvis's psychic.
Her, yeah. Uh-huh.
So her daughter, Jill, would go onto the radio shows with Mickey when Jill was a teenager. So she would do readings, like, on air with Mickey when she was a teenager. Now, she's really well-known psychic, very famous psychic, and, a good friend of mine. But it's not that common. I can't think of any really other than Jill and Mickey off the top of my head that really do that. I appreciate you two so much taking the time to join us. I wish you both nothing but good things. I think good things are going to come for each of you. I really do think that.
Thank you.
Any final things that you two would like to say, before we take a break?
I just want to thank you for having us on, and everybody stay warm and get through this winter.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
It seems rude that it's like so cold.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you both the best. I truly do.
You.
Again, our guests, Amy and Theresa Pierce. We will be back in just a few minutes, and we'll be shifting gears a little bit with the Social Justice League, and we'll talk about that when we come back. Once again, you're listening to Rock and Roll Psychic Radio. My name is Andrew Brewer. My lovely, vivacious co-hostess, Zita Ost. We will be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Like animated movies and TV shows? Do you ever wonder just what goes into making the magic that appears on your screen? Join Doug Engler and Brandon Aarons every Sunday night for Animazing Radio. Animazing will feature everything in the animation arena, from voice actors and actresses to illustrators, producers, and more. Only on Animazing Radio will you find the very best in animation from around the world. Catch Animazing Radio every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on the Hey Z Radio Network.
You read the paper. You watch the news. Have you ever considered that you're not getting the whole story? This is Dr. Truth.
And this is Dr. Drake. Tune in to the radio show Earth, Saturday nights, 10 to midnight.
We'll be exposing what the elites are doing all over the world.
We don't want you to believe us. Get a pen out and check us out.
It's the radio show accused of telling the truth. Earth.
The most controversial planet in the solar system. Saturday nights, 10 to midnight, Eastern Time, on the Hey Z Radio Network.
This is Kristen from the Enlightened Circle. Join us Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, where we'll feature great guests, enlightening information, and spiritual healing. If you have questions about or for the universe, the Enlightened Circle is where you want to be. Tuesdays at 10, only on the Hey Z Radio Network.
While cutting molding with a 12-inch dual compound miter saw, while holding a newborn baby in your arms, when face-to-face with a congregation of alligators, with the ball in your hands and the entire freaking season on the line.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? NASCAR driver Casey Kane here, asking you to please stop the text. And together, we can stop the wrecks.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Get the message at stoptextstopwrecks.org.